This video is proudly sponsored by Gamersgate. Download games anytime, anywhere. Visit Gamersgate.com.
Welcome to Elder Geeks Elder Speaks. Today is Monday, May 7th, 2012. My name is Randy Yasenchak. I'm the owner and the editor of ElderGeek.com. Today in the background, you're going to be seeing some gameplay footage from me playing Port Royale 3, a series that I have never touched before, but based on the screenshots and the description of the game, I kind of got a little bit excited about, and so hopefully you'll be seeing something good from me with this. If it looks like I'm fumbling through the menus, I am fumbling through the menus. Thank you very much. But in the news today, got a couple of news stories that I want to go through, and at the same time, I want to go back and touch on some news stories that I actually brought up last week. Mats and I were talking a little bit about the Elder Scrolls Online, and the moment that I hit post on that video to make it go live was when the screens for the article about Elder Scrolls Online were kind of leaked from Game Informer. Now, all the information that I have is basically from the Game Informer article, which I'm sure all of you have probably read, and if not, the screens are out there. If you don't want to read just the screens, I'm sure you can pick up a copy of the magazine when it releases and sift through it yourself. But I'm going to give my 2 cents based on that article, and it's kind of an addendum to what I had said last week as well. But news first, of course, if you want to skip all the news and go right to any of the conversations that I bring up today, links to the time codes are actually down below in the description of the video. First things first. Microsoft has come forward today saying that they have a $99 Xbox 360 with Kinect, and that sounds awesome at first when you think about it. Hey, $99 with Kinect, but there is a gigantic asterisk that goes along with that as well. It's with a 2-year required contract with Xbox Live Gold at $15 a month. Now, if you're in financial hard times and you really want an Xbox 360 with a Kinect, maybe you might want to consider it, perhaps. But if you were to ask me, hey Randy, should I do this? My answer to you would be hell no. Consoles are our consoles, and they should never ever become basically objects of cell phone agreements. I mean, we've gone through just a huge battle with whether or not we own our consoles with Sony this generation, and we've also gone through a huge battle of whether or not, these companies are actually going to be treating their customers like actual customers this generation with Microsoft's gigantic Red Ring fiasco. I don't want them to just turn us into monthly contract people, unless along with this monthly contract comes an agreement to repair absolutely everything that might go wrong with these consoles. But this late in the life cycle of a console as well, if you're going to be locked into 2 years of Xbox Live Gold and a $99 Xbox 360 with Kinect, you're going to be mad at yourself by the end of the second year because other people are going to be, I don't know, already playing their next generation console, whatever that might be, coming out. I will be really surprised if a new Sony or a new Microsoft console doesn't come out before then. But $99 sounds like a great deal, but then 15 years or $15 for 2 years, that adds up pretty quickly. So keep your eyes out for that. Like I said, it's there, it's available for you. But if you asked me, I would say no. Stay far away from this as possibly as you can. I see no good things coming out of this. The biggest thing that makes me scared about this is if Sony is sitting behind the bushes waiting to see how Microsoft does with this. Because if they're thinking the same thing, hey, yeah, if Microsoft does well with this, we'll do the exact same thing. I'm hoping they don't. I'm hoping that they just kind of do the same thing like they did with this generation, where they're going to say, yeah, the console is just going to be $350, none of this contract baloney. Especially since PlayStation is free, or the network is free unless you happen to get the PlayStation Plus subscription. But that's a whole other can of worms. But I'd love to hear all of your thoughts on that. But personally, I want absolutely nothing to do with that, and I want even less to do with that if that's going to be how they're going to be handling the next generation of consoles. You can just forget about that entirely. But it actually turns out, second story by the way, Company of Heroes 2 is actually going to be coming out in early 2013, so everybody that kind of got excited about the announcement that we made about it last week, doesn't have to wait too long, so that's really fantastic news. I'm very excited about what THQ can actually put together for this this next entry into the Company of Heroes series. I call it a series even though there was only one entry, because the original entry had a couple of pretty epic expansion packs to it, so I'm going to call that a small chunk of a series. But as we were also saying, I'm not tired of the World War II genre at all, and I think that it's a great RPS series that I think everybody, or RTS series that I think everybody should check out. Let's see, next story coming up. It turns out, according to GoNintendo.com, that Blockbuster kind of spilled the beans accidentally, and it's potentially listed all of the Wii U's launch titles. Now, this is just a rumor. This is not a definitive list from Nintendo. This is just what Blockbuster kind of has listed, and I'll go through the list as quickly as possible. Just Dance 4, Killer Freaks from Outer Space, Marvel Superheroes, Metro Last Light, Monsters Party, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Ninja Gaiden 3, Pikmin, Rabbids, Party Land, Raving Rabbids, Rayman Legends, Shield Posse, or Shield Pose, although you would think that should be Shield Posse. I don't know what a Shield Pose is. Splinter Cell 6, Sports Connection, Tekken, Your Shape 2013, Zombie, Aliens Colonial Marines, Assassin's Creed, Batman Arkham City, let's see, Darksiders 2, Dirt 3, Formula 1 All-Stars, Game Party, and Ghost Recon Online. Now, that is what the launch list is. If you were to ask me what I thought about that, I would think that that's not enough to get me to buy a Wii U on release day. As nice of a console as the Wii U actually looks, there's nothing there that's making me salivate for it for day one. Although I am kind of curious as to what they're saying about Splinter Cell 6. Are we talking about an entirely new Splinter Cell, or are we going to be looking at Conviction that they're just going to be revamping for the Wii U? Now, Conviction was a pretty great action game, and I don't see a need for a Wii U-like console to run it well. I mean, if you've played it on 360 already or on your PC, then awesome. But that's that. Final little bit of news before I go into my tiny little rant about the Elder Scrolls Online. Grim Dawn, the Kickstarter that I actually brought up a little bit earlier, the open world action RPG in the same vein as Diablo, has been fully funded. Out of the $280,000 goal that they were asking for, they got $281,000. So congratulations to the developers behind Grim Dawn, and I'm really looking forward to this one coming out. I kind of can't wait to see what they put together, and more importantly, I think anybody who is excited about Diablo 3 should be really excited about this as well. I mean, people should not be excited about one and then not the other. That just kind of blows my mind. Grim Dawn looks more like Diablo 2 than Diablo 3 does. So everybody should kind of get jazzed about that. Now, about the Elder Scrolls Online, I was sad to read all of the information that I had read in Game Informer. And I have to admit, like, all of my worst fears about the game have kind of come true. Now, everybody's kind of excited about the fact that it's being developed by some of the senior developers that were behind Dark Age of Camelot. I was a gigantic Dark Age of Camelot player, but in no way, shape, or form was it my favorite MMO of all time. It would be in my top 3, I guess. I would list it as number 2, probably. But I don't know. Everything about the Elder Scrolls, the more I think about it, I don't think that an Elder Scrolls experience goes well with an MMO, and I doubt that anybody over at ZeniMax PR is probably hearing any of these podcasts and any of these articles, which by the way, we on ElderGeek.com, Tenchucks, one of our writers, Dane, actually posted an article about a rant about Elder Scrolls Online. Nothing about it seems appealing to me anymore. Everything that I was kind of fearing that would come true is coming true. They've completely ditched the first-person point of view, which is a pretty important part of the immersion of an Elder Scrolls game, and they have kind of switched over to, admittedly, the old format of doing MMOs. The third-person point of view, where you tab to find your target and then you hotkey until target dies. That to me is not good enough for an Elder Scrolls experience. Like I said, they got rid of the first-person point of view, and that right there just completely kills the immersion level of it all. And then the art style as well looks more like, I want to say like EverQuest 2 or, I don't know. I'm trying to think of another MMO that it's pretty close to. It's pretty close to Warhammer Online, which of course is really close to World of Warcraft. But it does not look like Oblivion. It does not look like Skyrim. It does not look like Morrowind. It looks like a traditional MMO. Now, the game has been in development for a very, very long time, so I'm certain that whatever they actually launch will probably be a pretty well developed and fleshed out product. But I don't think that the game is going to last for long, to be honest with you. I think that the game will do well at first, and then I think it's going to quickly fizzle out. I think we're going to be looking at a very similar situation as to what Star Wars, the Old Republic, actually is facing right now. I think that it's going to get a huge flush of people that are excited to play another game within their favorite genre or series. So in this case, instead of Star Wars series, it's going to be the Elder Scrolls series. And then they're quickly going to realize, this is the same old tired MMO formula that I've been playing for the past 10 years now, and I want or need something new. And it's a shame, because the Elder Scrolls is a unique experience. There are very few RPGs that do role-playing as well as the Elder Scrolls does. Of course, there's JRPGs that scratching a completely different kind of itch, but as far as Western RPGs go, the Elder Scrolls series is kind of king of the hill. And I think this is going to be a major thorn in their side. Now, another point that I actually kind of brought up in the comments section on ElderGeek.com, I had said that I was really afraid of what this might do for the Elder Scrolls series as a whole. I can't help but notice that when Blizzard released World of Warcraft, we stopped seeing Warcraft titles. We have never seen Warcraft 4. Now, another one of the writers on the site actually said, well, hey, they didn't do that because StarCraft 2 came out and they didn't want Warcraft 4 to be competing with StarCraft 2. But look how long it took for StarCraft 2 to come out as well. I don't want that for the Elder Scrolls series. I like the Elder Scrolls series a lot. I think that I think Skyrim was the correct step in a lot of directions for the series, and a lot of people think that it was a step backwards in the series. I don't know. I guess it's your cup of tea, but completely ignoring the series altogether is the wrong way to go. And I am legitimately fearful that this will be the end of the series, or at least it will be a massive delay before the Elder Scrolls 6 comes out. I really don't want that. The space between Elder Scrolls is long enough. And the Elder Scrolls the Elder Scrolls Online probably will not be enough to scratch my itch. So, aside from the art style looking bad, or at least, I shouldn't say looking bad, looking like a traditional MMO, or looking more like a traditional MMO, which in my opinion looks bad. And the fact that they're relying on more heavily, they're relying on old MMO constructs. And somebody actually yelled at me in the comments saying, don't compare it to WoW, you know, you can't compare it to WoW. You don't know what it looks like, and not every MMO is going to play like WoW. But here's the thing. When WoW is the king of the entire genre for so long, of course almost every MMO that comes out afterwards is going to be borrowing some element of that, just so that they can take in some of WoW's users and not alienate them too much. And they all do that. They almost all have to do that. And that's what I kind of hate. WoW, while might have had a gigantic and a wonderful community, oversimplified what could have been great for MMOs. MMOs right now, I think, are growing completely stale, and they really need to do something to shake it up. Absolutely need to shake it up. I think maybe they need to start from scratch and just completely rethink about what a massive multiplayer online role-playing game needs to be. I think what they really should be doing is listening to the fans, and fans were saying, we don't really want an MMO, we want a co-op experience for Skyrim, so I can run around through Tamriel with a buddy on a horseback, and we can take out dungeons and stuff together. Or maybe two or three other people and do that. Start off small and work their way up from there. So solidify what a good co-op RPG would be. Solidify what a good group RPG would be. And then rebuild from there what a good multiplayer online RPG is going to be. Now, of course, they're never going to stop making MMOs. A lot of people still play some classics out there like Lord of the Rings Online, which is free to play, of course. But the big thing about MMOs is it is impossible to feel like the savior of the land when you're doing exactly the same thing as everybody else out there. How can I feel like the savior of Tamriel if if there are people literally how do I want to put this? When there are literally thousands of people there to break the immersion for you. And they can break the immersion in any number of ways. They can break the immersion by being general jackasses, which, come on, there's general jackasses existing everywhere in MMOs and online gaming in general. They can breaking the immersion by, just by being there. I hate to say it, but by being there and existing in gigantic groups and acting in fantasy setting behaviors. It sounds strange to say, but I'm sure a lot of you understand what I'm talking about. It's damn near impossible to become fully immersed into an MMO, and the Elder Scrolls games are some of the most immersive games out there, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing that's going to hurt this entire series. So, of course, I can't pass full judgment until I actually get my hands on the game and actually play the game. But at this point, I can't say that I'm hopeful. They're going to have to come out with a lot more great screenshots, or they're going to have to come out with, some developer diary saying like, hey, we've heard all the feedback and we're going to stop midstream now, and we're going to try to change course a little bit here to give you something a little bit more of what the fans want or deserve. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think at this point we're going to be looking at a pretty standard MMO where the realm is divided up by the 9 classes, or the 9 races. Going to be fighting amongst each other, which is fine. That sounds like a fine storyline, but I don't know. It's gonna be it's gonna be sad. I had said in Friday's video, or on Thursday's video, that Hell's Hounds wouldn't be able to stop me from playing this game, but based on that article, you could practically hear a group womp womp in everybody's head across the world as they read that article and as they flipped through those images. Can't believe it. Now, I could just be overly bitter, and maybe I should just suck it up and play it and see if I enjoy it. But I'm over that type of MMO. I've done those kinds of MMOs for years now, and I need and want something completely different in an MMO experience right now. Why can't I have a first-person experience where I'm seeing my sword or shield depending on which I'm swinging? Why can't I have that in an MMO anymore? It's not because of network reasons. I mean, we can pull this kind of stuff off pretty well with first-person shooters. Why can't we do it with MMOs? And why do MMOs have to hold hundreds of people? Again, backtracking to a little bit of an earlier idea. Why can't the servers be capped out, at 64 or something like that, or 200, as is the case with Mount and Blade series? If those games can run that well and that smoothly, I don't see why an Elder Scrolls game can't do that. I think they, like I said, I think they need to just completely restart it and go from there. Oh, and one of the biggest things, I gotta say this, one of the biggest things that really bothers me about this coming out is the fact that they are completely getting rid of the customizable class experience, which is key to the Elder Scrolls experience. The you doing whatever you want kind of thing because it's your game. That's gone. You have to pick a class and you have to play that class. That's gone. That's how this MMO is going to play out. If you want to play a ranger, you're going to be a ranger. If you want to be a healer, you're going to be a healer. I don't want that. That's not what the Elder Scrolls games were kind of built on. The Elder Scrolls were built on, hey, you used this skill, you're going to level up in that skill. And it's been done before in MMOs, so I don't understand why this isn't being used in this upcoming MMO. Ultima Online is probably the best example of that. You would have a cap of 700 points that you could use. You could max out in 7 skills if you wanted to, and then have 0 points in other skills. Or you could do a total hodgepodge and have like 10 points across a bunch of skills. Why can't they do that? You know? I mean, of course, there's going to be people that will sit there and study exactly which ones are going to be the most effective way to do PvP with, but whatever. At least it's giving the freedom back to the players. Instead, freedom in MMOs in the traditional style like World of Warcraft and even to an extent like Dark Age of Camelot, that freedom is just kind of an illusion, and I think that's what really bothers me. And that freedom is what I really enjoyed in the Elder Scrolls games up till now. So that's it from me today on Monday. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know if you agree with me. Let me know if you think I'm full of shit. That's fine. But that's it for today. If anybody has any questions or comments, feel free to send them to info@elder-geek.com. You can follow us on Facebook or Twitter. Of course, be sure to hit us up on the site at elder-geek.com, where I'm not the only person that works on Elder Geek things. There is an entire staff of people hard at work making articles for you to read. And that's it for me today. I'll talk to you all tomorrow.